I know I am kind of repeating things, but the best thing you can do is write a lot of code, right? I can try to help you by giving you interesting things and so on, but really, it is so important. And we have only a short time, right, together. I think this is the last but one class. So next weekend is our last class. So while you have me with you, try to make the most of your time, right? Uh, okay, we'll give a few more minutes for everyone to join us.
Excuse me?
Yes.
The first exercise.
Sorry, you broke up again. Can you say that one more time?
The first exercise of the trinket project.
Yes.
Yeah, and the third part in it, in which like we had to tell the number of letters in the names.
Yes.
I was getting a bit confused in that.
Okay.
So can we?
Yes, of course. Of course. That'll be an easy one. What I want to do today is I want to take two, so let me just mention to you, I want to show you all how we can use everything we know. For example, to create a guessing game, right? And also I wanted to show you a little piece of art. Can somebody tell me, do you like this picture? Anyone?
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay. So my plan is to show you how we could make this picture, right? I'll show you how to write the code, and we'll use all of the ideas that we have used so far, right? Okay. So the poll is almost done. Let's see how many. Okay, almost all of you have done. So let me end polling, then share the results. So okay, can you all see my results? The results from the poll?
Yes.
Yes. So you can see a couple of you have had a little bit of challenge with time. So please make sure you can plan that out. Most of you are doing good, getting your 1 to 3 hours. That's plenty. Okay. More, if you have too much fun and doing interesting things, more is fine. Don't get too tired. 1 to 3 hours is all we try to do. Okay. Okay. So I'll stop. I'll take off the poll, and I think we can start now. So my plan was to show you how to do something like this, right? So shall we start with the picture first? Is there anybody who wants to do the game first?
We should do the picture first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the important thing that I want to share with all of you today is this idea that we want to be able to write code, but we want to write it in the cleanest possible way and the easiest possible way, right? And that means that we must have a plan. Even when we are doing, like random numbers or things like that, we must have a good plan, right? Because if you don't have a good plan, then things will go all over the place, right? So, okay, so let's start with the easiest part of the thing, which is we will just import what we need. So we'll say from. So the one thing is, as you type, it's nice if you tell yourself what you're going to type, right? So from turtle, import star. I want to tell all of you something I forgot to mention earlier. Some of you have code where this star is not having a space. And if it doesn't have a space sometimes, I don't know if Trinket is removing the space. Just make sure the space is there, because sometimes if the space is not there, it can cause some problems, okay? But you'll see some error kind of thing if it's there. And then because I was trying to show you how to use random numbers, I wanted to make these stars, scattered in the sky randomly, right? So I thought, okay, that's a nice way to do random numbers. Now you can also, position them if you want to position them, okay? But always think, if I have like 50 stars and I want to position them, that's a lot of work, okay? Okay, now let's go and start. Okay, so let's bring in the random numbers as well. From random, import star, I'll just bring everything in. And then we will start by saying, okay, we want to have a screen here. So why don't I set up the screen and put some background to it, right? Screen, so to make the screen, just like you create a turtle, you first create a screen, right? And then you can set the properties of the screen. So screen has a property called background color, BG color. And we say background color And be careful here, when you do things like this, you have to basically put parentheses and pass a value. And the color I chose was this color, midnight blue. Now, if you choose something like this and the name is not correct, then you might see the sky becomes black. So let's make a mistake here or whatever and see what happens. If you do something like this, then it will come black. It's not the best thing in the world. It doesn't throw an error. It simply says, I don't know what color you are wanting, so I'll give you black. So if you see that, just be careful. Also remember that the set of names that you can choose for colors, somebody has written a very careful map. We could write such a program ourselves, basically translating these English names of colors into RGB values, right? So somebody has patiently taken all kinds of colors and given them different RGB values. So of course, there are lots of RGB values and less names. So sometimes when you type a name, it may not be there. So then use the RGB values. Okay, if you want more control, always you should use the RGB values. Okay, so this much is clear. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to get hold of a total. So that is, and by now that should be easy for you. So you make a total and then we can set a color. Today, I don't know, for now, some things I might want to draw in white. So taco.color and I say white. Okay, and notice when I'm writing code, there's no harm periodically to run it and see what happens. So for example, it's there. Now notice if I just
You didn't write taco.shape.
Huh?
You didn't write taco.shape, that's why the point is right.
Yes, I didn't do the shape yet,
The
right?
default is pointer.
Okay, okay. So default is an arrow like this. I don't know why they didn't make the default to be a turtle, okay? So here you can do the shape. So the shape will be turtle, like this, right? So now we set up the shape as well and we got our turtle, right? So that is all good. So now what do we need to do? We can draw something. So the first challenge here may be that, okay, let's also, since we're going to draw a lot of things today, we can set the speed as well and make the speed to be 0. Okay, taco dot speed 0. So then we got everything to start. But now we have an interesting thing. I want to draw stars and maybe I can ask as a question, would it be better if the star looked like a star or would it be better if the star looked like a dot? I know there's no, some people want dots, right? Dot is a quick way. You can even make small circles if you want. But I thought I would take this as a chance to make a shape, okay? Actual star, okay? And the star is kind of a tricky shape to make, so I won't spend too much time discussing it, but this may be an example of something where you can go away and think about it. Okay, so before I make a function, maybe this is one way to do it is for you to just get it working first. Okay, so first of all, a star, how many points are there on a star? Do you know?
5.
Like when you draw
5 or 6.
5 or 6. Okay. Now it turns out, so this is why I say every small question leads us to lots of interesting things to think about. Okay. So for example, 5-pointed star or a 6-pointed star, they're very different beasts. Okay. And if you think how to draw a 6-pointed star, it's really closely connected to 2 triangles just flipped around, one triangle flipped upside down. Okay. But you can try, you can think about how to draw different kinds of stars. Today, I will just solve the problem by drawing a 5-pointed star. Okay. So we'll say for a 5-pointed star, let's just make it go forward, for example. And here, let's make something for the size of a star. So let's say the size of the star is, I don't know, let's say 50 for now.
You type forward wrong.
Thank you. Yeah, 50. Okay. Yeah, so taco.forward 50, right? So we can do this. Then I have to turn, and this is the difficult part, right? The difficult part here is how do we decide the angle? Okay. Now I always turn left. So
I think the angle will be 72.
Okay. So how do we know it's
Be,
72?
it should be
What?
360 divided by the number of sides.
Yeah, so if there's 5 sides, that means
Okay, so I'm going to let all of you try it out, okay? This is a very good question, but the angle for this guy is a little tricky. So let me try something, okay? And then you can tell me if it looks like a star first. Then we'll try 72 and see what happens, okay? Okay, so taco dot left, and that should be enough, right? Let's see what happens if we try to run this and see what happens. Okay, I got something. So I think, can you all see a star or is the turtle hiding it?
No, we could
We
see.
can see most part of the star.
Okay, but anyway, just to, okay, can also do, I think it's called hide turtle. Then I don't need any parameters. Let's see, I don't fully remember. Okay, so is this a good star or not?
Yeah,
It's a
Okay,
good
it
star.
looks like a star.
it looks like a star.
Yeah.
Now some of you said what, 72, right? So let's see what happens when we do 72. Interesting, right? Very
Yeah.
interesting. There's something connecting the pentagon, which is also a five-sided shape, and the star. Okay, so this is how we explore, right?
Excuse me.
Yeah,
I
tell
think the
me.
number of sides, if we actually count on a star, is not 5. It has more than 5 sides.
Well, depends how we count. Okay, so let's try to run this again.
It should be
So
10.
yeah. So the way you should do this is when you take a piece of paper and you draw it without lifting your hand at all. Okay, and then count how many sides are there. It's kind of a trick puzzle we used to do as a kid, right? Can you draw a star without lifting the pen off the paper? And if you can follow my mouse, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Another way to see that it's 5 is you see my range has only 5. So there's only 5 turned and 5 forwards in here.
Why did you choose the angle 145?
So this is something I put it there specifically to make you think about this. So I'm not going to give the answer now, but
Can I answer?
yes.
It's angles 145 because it all goes through each other as well. Because they dissect as well.
I know it goes through and all those nice things, but exactly how did we calculate 145? Right? Some people tried the obvious thing. They tried to take 360 and divide by 5. They got 72, something like this, 72. Yeah, 72 exactly. So, but that gives a pentagon, right? But it doesn't give a star. So what's the connection? Okay. Now, don't worry too much about it, but play with it. This is what I'm trying to show all of you, right? I mean, we must play with it. Like nobody gave me a book and said, here's what angle to use for a star, right? So yesterday when I was writing this program for all of you, I said, I'm going to really make a 5-pointed star. And then I sat down and I played with it and figured out some interesting things. Okay, so all of you should try a little bit, okay? But now for today, I'm going to show you some more powerful things. So let's keep going with this, okay? So I'm going to draw a lot of stars, isn't it? So for a lot of stars, if I do this and if I want to do like 50 stars, I can put another for loop, but my code is starting to become more and more bulky.
Can
right?
you? Oh, never mind.
No, tell me.
No, I was just thinking if you could just do for I in range of 10, but that would just make it 10 pointed.
10 pointed kind of star. Weird things, okay? By the way, even pointed and
No,
odd
but
pointed.
But
We
if
can,
we do this, repeat this like 10 times, we'll have to, after each one, we'll have to change the location of the star.
Correct. We'll have to change the location, etc., etc. So I'm going to build it.
suggest a way?
I'm saying this because I'm doing this along with you and I'm trying to figure out by myself a little bit. And I'm like super confused.
Yes,
Can I
yes.
su-
So we'll
Can I
do it.
suggest a way?
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. One by one. Yes. What will you say?
I was saying that, can I suggest a way to do that?
You can go on.
Yeah. So we can create another for loop and then which is and the I is inside that loop, and
Correct.
then we can just after coming out of the I loop, the one that you created now, we
Yes,
can
yes.
just write
Yes,
taco
yes.
dot forward, and then we can in the bracket we can just write
Sure,
random, so it
sure,
will
sure.
assign random places.
Yes, yes. So I'm saying this is all possible, right? But what I want to do right now is to show all of you that here is a nice shape, and I want to use the shape all over the place. So if I start putting multiple for loops and then moving it here and there, my code becomes more and more complex,
Do you like
right?
make it a function?
So I'm going to create a function. So let us make a function here. Let's call this function. I sense, because I thought, okay, I can write a lot of code and then change it. But why not we change it now? And I'm going to show you some ideas here. So we make a function called make star. Wouldn't it be nice if I can just say make star and then it will make stars, right? And this will be put inside a function. For now, let's start here. And then I just say make star, for example, right? So we know how to make functions. Many of you have written small functions like this, but I'm going to show you more. So it makes a star. But this star is not interesting enough to me. Why is
Like,
it
won't
not?
you write return in this?
Say that again.
Won't you write return in this?
Okay, so what do I need to return though? So return is an optional thing. If I need to return something, I could return something, but I don't need to return anything. So if you don't, so return is very important. Functions can return things. When you write the guessing game problem next, I'll show you that you might need to return things. But functions can also not return things if they have done their work and we don't need anything back. Okay, but more important, so is that clear? Everybody should be thinking about it. What does this function return, right? And we have an option, we can return something. For example, it can print a message. You can print a message, I made 1 star or whatever, I made star or something. It can do many things. It can
So
return
like, will it only return like I made a star, like the string I made a star, or will it also like make a star? If you
no,
just
this,
write,
no, look at the code right now. Make star will definitely make a star. But make star does not return anything because I don't need it to.
like if you write return I made a star, like
Yeah.
return.
So let's do that. Why not, right? So let's make it return. I made a star, right? Now,
You won't
notice,
write print, like you won't write print in the starting of this.
no. Let's see what happens. Now, if I run this, nothing happens, right? But if I do this, now let's see what happens. See,
Okay,
make star, return something, and then I print.
I have one question.
Yes, sure.
What's the difference between print and return?
Return just gives you back something. So for example, here it gives you back that string, I made a star.
So,
But if I, one
just
second, if I don't do this print, where does that I made a star message go? Where does it go?
Oh, okay.
It doesn't go anywhere, right? It just disappears, right? It silently disappears. Some programs other than Python will throw an error here. Says, I'm trying to give you a string, you're not taking it from me. But Python doesn't complain. So for example, I could put a string here, I could put a message here, for example, I can make a variable and capture that message coming back. And then I can say print message, right? I did it in one sentence, in one instruction, but you can do it in 2 steps, just so you can see what's going on. And you see, I made a star came back, right?
Okay.
So
Why
this
is it doing that? When you
Huh.
write print, only then it does, only then it prints I made a star. But if you just write make a star, it like just makes the star and doesn't print anything.
Yeah, that is always true, right? If you have a Python program where no print is called explicitly, then nothing will come out of that program, right? Python
But
will
isn't
not
that
just,
part of the function? Like, isn't return also part of the function?
return is part of the function, but return does not go to the screen. It gives it back to me so I can put it somewhere. Think of this function like a friend of yours, right? And you say, friend, can you please make my star for me? And he says, makes the star and then gives you back a message, hands it to you, you meaning the program. You have to take that message and say print, so it goes to the screen, right? If I don't,
So what if like you're like in the last class we were finding the square of some numbers, and
Yes.
what if you did that but you didn't write print? Then what would it do?
nothing, it won't show anything. So let's do this. Hold that print square for a minute, okay? Because right now we're doing a lot of graphics. When we start to do the guessing game together, then you ask me that square print question again, okay? Let's do the same question, there I'll be printing a lot of things and we can look at it more. Okay. So very good question though. Return is can be confusing, and I'm going to show you that you can return more than one thing and so on and so forth. So keep that, just write a note, pay attention to return. We'll come back to this even today. Okay. So anyway, but I want to show you the other side of return. So I'm going to take off this return because I don't need it. I'm going to just say make start and run it once just to make sure I didn't break anything. Okay, everything is good. Now I want to ask a different question. Return is what's coming back. What do I need to give this function so it can do its job?
Excuse me.
Yes.
When I wrote this and I ran my program, it's saying syntax error bad input on line 15, which is basically the for I in range.
Yes.
I've written for I in range 5.
Yes.
For I in range brackets 5 and then a colon.
Yes.
And it's still saying syntax error.
Oh, okay. So you can make a project and submit to me. Okay. But for now, what I'm going to do for everyone is just, I'm going to give you my code. If it copies and pastes correctly, be careful of indents and so on. You can try. Okay. You can take my code, but you need the other code too, right? You need the taco and everything. So pause. Don't worry. Don't worry for a minute. I'll tell everybody, don't try to make it work. We'll come back, or I can share this whole code with you. Okay. Just pause for a minute. Pay attention to what I'm going to show right now. Very important idea. And just hold your questions till I finish this part. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. In order to make a star, I need to give it various things. Right now I've given it nothing. So this is the only star it can do. But I want to make it draw different stars. So at a minimum, it should have an X and Y location where I can place this star, right? I could also give it a color. Right now I want only white colored stars, but I can give it a different color. So at least this much I can do. So now I want to show all of you, this is very useful to you because once I create this function and give it those parameters, I never have to worry about making stars anymore. It will become easy for me. So let's see, how do I do this? How do I make the star go to a location X and Y, right? So to go to a location X and Y, I can say, for now, I'm going to say taco. We're going to come to this in a second. Taco dot pen up. You know this code from before, nothing different, just that I'm putting it inside the function now. Then we'll say taco dot go to X, Y. And then we'll say taco dot pen up. Okay, now notice what I'm doing is very powerful. We're going to come back and see. Once you have this idea, that means a shape can be put anywhere.
Excuse me?
Okay, now the next thing to do is I'll say taco.color and then we'll give it whatever color we're passing. Okay.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
I never understood what go to means.
Go to, okay, so now the very good question. Okay. So now important thing for all of you to, for all of us to think about. The turtle so far, actually this is an important moment. So good, thank you for asking for that question. So this important thing here is till now, like when I drew the star before this part, I never had to use any kind of coordinates, right? I just moved the turtle. In fact, when I teach graphics to people, I say wait till the last to use coordinates. Because we don't need coordinates, right? I can just move the turtle wherever I want. But if I use coordinates, I can do certain more sophisticated things. So for example, I can tell the turtle to go to some location. Now let me ask a question. Have all of you seen the coordinates in class somewhere, in math class or something?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, is anyone who says no?
Nope.
Okay, somebody said no. That means you haven't seen it in class?
Nope, I'm in like 5th grade.
Sorry, say that again one more time.
I haven't learned it yet.
Okay, good. Don't worry. Okay, don't worry too much. I'm just going to give an idea and then see if it works. Okay, don't worry too much. But the idea is this. So in the middle of this blue square, right in the middle, there's a point. And we call that point 0, 0. Okay. Then if I take 5 steps to the right, the first part is 5 and the second part is 0. If I take 10 steps up, then the first part is 5 because I went 5 to the right. And then the second part is 10 because I went up. Okay. So that is in a nutshell. Clearly, this is a bigger topic. So if you haven't learned about coordinates, don't worry too much. Maybe when you submit some projects, we can discuss it briefly. Okay. It will come up in class at
Okay.
some point. Huh?
So coding, so this is more like a x and y, like x is the center, y is like very middle, and it goes to minus 180 plus 180 of x and y.
So minus 180 plus 180. So how much, what does x, so many of you have seen like a number line at least, right? If not coordinates, number line is just a straight line. So let's do this. Maybe next time I'll spend a few minutes on coordinates and number line. We'll do a
No, I
little bit.
use this on like Scratch, I think. So it's like,
Yeah, I'm coming. Yes, Scratch has similar ideas, but let me finish this idea about what does X go over. So imagine a line that's drawn horizontally across the screen. In the middle, X is 0. If I take one step to the right, X is 1. If I take two steps to the right, X is 2, and so on. You can move to the right, and then you can move to the left as well, right? And this we could do. So let's just make this all very easy. Let's take this off. And let's just do it with taco, right? We can just say taco.forward. Let's just do this. We say taco.forward and we say 50. Let's see what happens here. So he went to the right. You see, this is 50 steps to the right. Does that make sense? So this is what we were doing right now till up to this point, right? If I want to go right, I go 100 steps to the right and so on. So the screen actually, you can ask how far can you go? And of course, as I tell all of you, we should play with it and find out. Already 100 has got me what looks like halfway to the edge of the screen, right? So I'm almost confident that if I go 200, I will reach the edge of the screen. Kind of, he stepped off the screen, but he's just outside. He's not visible, but he's just outside my screen. Now, what about if I go minus 200? Then he goes in the opposite direction. Make sense? So we can go forward 200 or negative 200 and move in the X direction, right? But right now we're not able to move in the Y direction. So in order to move in the Y direction, what I have to do is I have to do taco dot left 90. And now I can do the same thing, right? I can go downwards by going negative. I can go upwards by going positive. Make sense? So what is my choice of X and Y? X and Y can be, X can go from minus 200 to plus 200 and Y also can go from minus 200 to plus 200. So think of X as going left and right and Y as going up and down. Okay, so in order to tell the turtle to go somewhere, you can tell it how much to go to the left and how much to go up. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yes. So now let's just do this. And then some of you have asked me to review some homework. So let us keep that towards the end. Let's finish this because this will help you with all your homework as well. Okay. But keep your questions and we'll come to it maybe in between even. So we don't wait till the end. Okay. So now does everybody understand this idea of going up and down and left and right? And now this XY is allowing me to do both together, right? I can do both together. Instead of saying go left and then go right, go left and then go up, I can do both together.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I'm not quite thorough with the concept of functions. I'm not able to understand how does. Okay, so in the parenthesis you have given certain values,
Yes.
but how does it know that what should we take for X, for Y, and for color?
Right now it doesn't know because it just knows
Okay.
whatever you give me for X, I will take. We are not yet used this, right?
So everything that is indented in a function will be contained inside the function. Am I right?
Correct. Every time we call the function, it will do all this.
Okay.
Right. So let's just do this now. So I'll say make star, and in the beginning, the star is usually starting at 0 and 0. This is what it is. And let's say the color is, for now, let's make the color red and see what happens. Right. So we got this. I should take this off. Let's just clear up my screen. So we got a red star, just like before. Instead of a white star, we got a red star, right? But it's located at 0, 0. So let's make the star go up. So to make it go up, remember the first one is left and right. The second one is up and down. So to make it go up by 100 units, let's say, I do this and let's see what happens. You see the star went up. Does everybody see the star went up?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Now I can make it go down, for example. So I can say minus 100. Kind of cool, right? And now what about I make it go left and up? Then I go minus 100, minus 100. So it's going to go left first and then up and then draw it there. Oops, it's sorry, left and down, right? Minus 100 is down. So left and down. So left and up would look like this. So you have to play with this a little bit so everything becomes clear. So
Excuse
make
me?
yeah.
How do you make the text green?
Which text? I don't have any text right now.
No, like when you hashtag it.
Ah, okay, when I hashtag. No, you just put a hash and it will become green. But it's not to make it green. When you put the hash, it means Python, please don't do this. So for example, if I do this, nothing will come on the screen because make star has been, we've told Python, please ignore it.
It's
right?
basically just a comment.
Yeah, it makes it into a comment. This is a note to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So no, it's exact opposite of Twitter or something, right? When you hashtag something, you're telling everybody, hey, pay attention to this. Here you're telling Python, hey, please don't pay attention to this. Ignore it completely. Okay. Okay. So this is also good. So if you want to make everything into a comment, you just highlight it and hit control slash. The slash that's next to your shift key. Hit it twice, it will just undo it. Okay. So now we got this. Now the last thing which I need is I need to control the size of the star. The star size has been set to 50. So let's make this into something called size. And then here we can put the size as a parameter. Notice how we can get new parameters for our function. But now if I run this, it will break. Why it will break? Python will say, hey, you didn't tell me what the size is. See, make star takes 4, but I've given only 3 things to me. So I have to put the size, and let's make the star a little smaller now and see what happens. Yep, this gets smaller, right? So I got my stars now, and of course you can see if the color is working. Okay, fine. So this is all very good. Now the last thing I'm going to tell you, it's a really important thing, can make your head hurt, but the function actually needs taco, doesn't it? And taco is not passed to this function. So really it needs a turtle to do its drawing. So the way I write my code is I usually say a turtle like this as a parameter. And then inside the code, I use a turtle. Right, everywhere I have to say a turtle. What is the meaning of that? The meaning of this is that anytime we want to use this function, somebody must create a turtle and give it to the function. Whichever turtle is passed to this function, whether it's Bob or Joe or Jim or anything, that function will use that turtle. Just like it uses 100, it uses a turtle. But I have to construct the turtle and give it to the function. Let's make sure we didn't break anything. Works fine, right? So if the turtle is not constructed,
Wait,
yeah.
I have a question.
The taco with the a turtle.
Sorry, one more time. Repeat the question.
Why did you replace the taco with the a turtle?
Because suppose I put taco here, right? This is inside a function. Does it know what taco is? Does this? So pretend this function is like a little machine, right? Inside
But didn't you define taco in the beginning? Like
I know, but inside so think of the function like a machine, right? And if it's like a small box, inside that box, taco is not there, right? I'm saying something not 100% precise, but work with me, right? I'm trying to show you that when we write good functions, we shouldn't assume that something's sitting outside the box.
Do you have to write a turtle? Can you like write b turtle or something?
You can write b turtle, you can write x, you can write Bob, you can write anything, right? But I wrote a turtle. Yes, I wrote a. Notice it's very important here. I wrote a turtle because this is not the name of any turtle. It's some turtle. God made some turtle, right? In fact, I could have called it just turtle. But notice if I just call it turtle, there's already a turtle sitting here. And this will be confusing, right? Python has 2 things called turtle, and that's a problem. So that's why I called it a turtle. You can come up with any name, but the idea which I want to communicate to all of you is this turtle is not any specific turtle, right? You could have made a turtle called Bob, somebody else could have made a turtle called Joe, Jim, anything, right? And then here, as long as you pass a good turtle, everything is fine. Make sense? So if I make Bob here, this is something that has to be constructed, and it's a little confusing. Suppose I put here taco, just as an example. Python will not complain, but if I put here taco, then is this some abstract turtle that nobody knows where it is? or is it the taco that I created just now, right?
The
So
taco that you said.
well, actually, Python will say, even though the two names are different, this is a little box. Inside this box, this taco is maybe different than that taco. And we'll get confused,
Okay, so it treats it
right? So,
differently.
sorry,
I
one
have
second.
a question.
Yes, 1 second. Let me just finish this idea. So
Yeah.
here, let's go back to a turtle. So notice how I did this in a nice way, right? I introduced a very important idea that whatever this function wants to use, make sure that it's passed in parentheses to the function. Try not to use anything from outside. Okay, and the reason is, if you use anything from outside, what if somebody goes and changes it? For example, suppose there's an x here and x is 5. Right? If first of all, it will complain. 1 or 2 if you hit this problem already, those who use functions a lot. So don't try to use this x, because inside the function, it needs to be given a specific x. So if you use an x from outside, then you will not be able to control it and things will get confusing. So rather than trying to understand how many different ways things can break, I want to tell all of you, let's think of it this way. We know functions take parameters. Let's make sure that anything that the function needs to touch, there should be nothing inside this function that is not given to it through its parameters. That kind of makes sense, right?
But in the in the function part, won't you like have to again define the turtle? The taco.
One more time, what is that?
In the function, like, won't you then again have to define what taco is, and then?
No, because he says I will work with any valid turtle. So let's try it out. Let me take this whole thing, right? And let me make this a different turtle and let's call it Bob, right? So for example, we make it Bob. And here, if I pass Bob, also it will work, right? As long as it's a turtle and everything will be fine, right? So for example, here, if we give Bob, it will use Bob and do its work, right? Now see, there's little confusions because the other turtle is getting created as well and so on. Okay, but okay, at least it can work with Bob. Now, if Bob is not a turtle, what if Bob, for example, if Bob has a different property here? It doesn't matter, because when the color is set to white here, when it comes inside, anyway, the color will be set to white. So notice, if Bob is created with white and here we say red, it will get changed because Bob's properties are getting changed by the function, right? So slowly we start to understand this. So play with functions a little bit, but the simple and the easy thing, even though this conversation is a little confusing, is to say, let's always try to use only those things that are passed in, right? Let's not pretend like if I'm inside a box, if I'm inside my car, then I want to use the steering wheel of this car. I don't want some other car's steering wheel to control my car. That would be confusing, right? So whatever it needs, we pass it in. Okay.
Then how is it working when you didn't write a turtle? It was like still working.
Say that again one more time.
Like, then how is it working when you didn't write a turtle?
That's because it tries to cheat and help you, right? So if I make this taco, it will try to help you, but there will be situations where it cannot help you. And then it will just break in some strange way. And
okay, so like what I tried, I actually wrote a turtle and then X, Y, size and color, but didn't change the taco, and it was still working. So that's why I got
correct. So Python tries to help you by looking outside the box. In fact, it goes outside and looks. If something is there with that matching name, it will try to use it. But we will get confused because we are trying to do something inside a box and stuff is being done outside. Okay. Okay. Now, some of you
Excuse me?
Yeah.
So can you give the turtle a size?
The turtle a size? Yes, you can. But let's keep that aside for now. Why do we need the size? Yes, you can do. Right?
Okay.
If you ask me a little later, I'll tell you. But right now, I really want all of us to concentrate hard. Don't worry about homework and other things. Let's master this idea of how to use functions. Right? And I'm showing you how we can make functions. I made it a little bit complicated because it's very powerful now. Why is it very powerful? Because now I can make as many stars as I want. So let's try and look at this now. So we made this thing. So now make star. And then we take off Bob here. We'll give it taco. Make sure everything's working fine. Okay. And then the star, let's make it white. And now we can come back to our problem. How do we make multiple stars, right? So for I in range, So let's say we want to make 10 stars. We make 10 stars, and here I have to choose what is it we want to keep them all white, but we want to put them in different locations. So we can say x equals, and then here we can say rand int. So we're going to get a random integer, right? And here we're going to put a random integer, but in what range? Okay, this is a very important part. Just doing random stuff, we still have to control it. And the sky is in the upper half of the screen. So it can go left up to minus 200, for example, and then it can go right up to plus 200, right? But what about in the up-down direction? I don't want the stars to go all the way to the bottom. So I only allow it to go down to, let's say, 100, right? So we'll see if what happens to these stars. And now here I take off this value here and I put
Excuse
x.
me?
Yes?
I think you put for I and range twice.
Where is it twice?
At 21 and 25, you put for I
Yes,
and
but yes, good point, but very important idea. This is to make 1 star. This is to make 10 stars.
Oh.
Okay, and also one more thing, notice I is inside the function. So this I and that I are different. If this is confusing, you can put J here if you want, okay? It doesn't matter.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Can you please let Janvi in because she got disconnected?
Okay, yes. Okay. Sometimes I don't notice when people get disconnected. I'm trying to let her in, yes. Yeah, it's good to have a friend if you get disconnected. Okay, does everybody see this now? So let's see what happens if I try to run this. Do you see the stars coming all over the sky?
Yeah.
Yes. And what if I want to make it a little smaller? I just change it to make it a little smaller. And do you see that the stars are only in the sky, not on the ground? So if I didn't do this carefully, for example, here, if I allow the y values, up and down values, to go from minus 200 to plus 200, we're going to see some stars are going to come down. Notice? So this is very important. See how my program suddenly became very powerful, right? I can make now as many stars as I want, and it's going to look pretty too, right? Because they're going to go in the sky and they're going to be in random locations. And notice, because it's random, sometimes there'll be 2 on top of each other. Sometimes they can all end up in the right-hand side. All kinds of interesting things can happen. You should play with that a little bit, right? So what are the important ideas here right now? We showed how we can use functions. We also showed how we can introduce randomness, but in a controlled way. I need to make the stars be in the sky, not fall on the ground, right? Some people do random and just throw everything all over the place. That's not good, right? So we have to control it.
I wrote the same code, but it's actually just overlapping for me. Like the turtle is just making the star again and again.
Okay.
I don't know where.
Did you put X and Y here on line 28?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's very nice that all of you, some of you at least, are trying to write the code along. But of course, you save the code and clean it up, and I'll help you make sure that it works well. Okay, afterwards. Because I may not be able to see all the issues right away. Sometimes when you describe it, I can find it, but not always. Okay. So we got stars. So what is left now in this picture? Well, we need this house.
The house.
Yes, and then we need a moon. Okay, so let's see. But the house is also important to us. So let's try to do the house. So first of all, I'm going to hide off the stars. So nothing is going to happen. So I just have a clean slate to work with. And now I want to show all of you the same idea which we did with stars. Let's think about houses, okay? And even though I drew a simple house for this demo.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Even after writing the whole code, why didn't the star, okay, from line 15 to line 22, we have written a couple of lines, but nothing is executed. Why is it so?
Because that's a good question. These are the points. So my whole plan for this class and the next class is we're going to write a lot of code, and it's going to make you if you pay attention, it's going to raise questions that we ignored before. Okay, so we're going to try. Huh? Sorry?
I've written for J. Oh, sorry. I forgot to write the N in.
Yes. Take your time, okay? And like I said, I may not be able to fix all your problems. I'll try, okay? Let's try to have this class in that spirit. We ask questions and we try to solve them. I'm not rushing to go anywhere. Notice important point to repeat. We've covered all the important ideas so far. In 6 sessions, we've covered all the important ideas. Now we are just putting the icing on the cake and paying attention to small details that we might have missed before, right? So this is a good time. Yeah.
It's still saying after I put for j in range 10 colon x equals randant minus 200 y randant, and then it's saying unindent does not match any outer indent level.
Yes. Okay, so today we're going to solve all the problems. Okay, let's see how much we can do here. So it's very important, right? All of you might have seen. One second, all of you might have seen this. Let me fix this problem quickly. All of you might have seen this. Python needs these things to be indented correctly. So for example, if you do this or if you do this, it's going to break, right? So it's going to say there's a problem. And if you go look, it says you indent does not match outer indentation. Notice? So everything has to be perfectly aligned, right? So somewhere you could have an extra space here and there. Notice also in Trinket, they try to draw, do you see a faint line here? They try to draw a faint line to show you. For example, here, you see the faint line when I moved X to the right, it's showing a faint line that says X is moved over. Okay, so you have to do this carefully. And then after that, it's very hard for me remotely to debug if you have an indent problem. Okay, I cannot tell which line is indented by over Zoom. So just submit your code and I'll look at it. Okay, put it in project, use your imaginations. But now I want all of you to focus and don't. Okay, let me take a couple of questions before I ask you to focus. Any more questions?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So for randant,
Yes.
could it also work in a list?
It would work in a list.
Could randant also work in a list?
What do you mean work in a list? Tell in words what you wanted to do.
So let's say I make a list of names.
Yeah.
Let's say I make like
And you want to pull out.
Bob,
you want to
Jack,
pull out
Jim.
Yeah, and you want to pull out a random name.
Random name.
Yes, it will work, but I will show you. Okay. Can you hold that question? So some of you take a piece of paper or something or note on your computer, make a note. We have to check this question. Okay, and we'll come back to that question in a minute. Okay, randint can be used for lists, but there are a couple of clever ways to do it. When we do the next program, maybe I'll have easy ways to show you that. Okay, we'll do it soon after we finish this. But now I want all of you to pause your questions for 5 minutes. We're going to do something very powerful.
Excuse me.
Yes. Yes. Go on.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No worries. Come on.
I was asking that, okay, after random in the parentheses, we have given 2 parameters to it. So what is the purpose of those parameters?
Those parameters tell you that the randint has to lie between those 2 values.
Excuse
Okay,
me?
so yeah, okay. So the location can be also being random. It can still be adjusted according to our needs.
According to your needs, it can lie between minus 200 and 100. Here between 100 and 200. Okay.
Excuse me?
Yes. Go on.
For me, after this code, it's only just making the first triangle. That's it.
Okay. Why don't you submit your code? Okay. I'll look into it. Okay.
How do you submit it?
From the project site. Have you been to our?
Yeah, I've done the project.
Okay. Put this broken code in there and submit it. Right. Put in one of the exercises.
Yeah, it's there.
Does it make sense?
It is there. Just one point I'm not able to understand it.
Yeah, where is it on the code? Okay, so I can't look at it right now. Okay. So
no, it's in the actual exercise in 7.1.3.
Yes.
Okay, but
after the class, DJ will look into it. It's hard during the class to look into one specific person's code. Okay, so hold on to it, and either you stay after the class and let the class. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you,
Okay.
Mike. Yes, at the end of the class we can look at it. Okay, if you paste your code in there, I'll look at it at the end of the class. Okay, so now for all of you, another important idea, very important idea, is this thing about when we want to use functions. Let's see how functions can help us to draw this house that we have to draw. how can we draw it and make a nice house, but use function? So the first idea is the house that I looked at is a simple house right now. It just has a square base and a triangle on top. And we've been drawing these shapes and squares and triangles actually, so we can say def, and we can make a thing called draw shape. Actually, there are two ways to, okay, so let's do it the way I'm showing you right now. First, you make it work. So for example, right now, if I run this code, nothing is X, screen is clear. So we'll say, but I have made taco on top, right? So I can use this taco and we'll make a shape, okay? So we have for I in range. And here we're going to have the number of sides. So number sides, whatever the shape is. So for example, think of triangles, blah, blah, blah. For I in range, number of sides. And then I'm going to choose, just to get started and make our life easy, we can choose number of sides is 4. That's easy for us, right? We can make a square.
Excuse me.
Yes.
We have already defined, we have already used I, so can we use it again? Outside the function, things can be repeated.
Things can be repeated. But
okay.
Of course, this can be dangerous. But actually, if you look at my code, I haven't used I, right? Because this I here, I said this earlier, this I is inside a function. It's inside a box. So I'm going to close the box for a minute. Okay. So outside this box, there is no I, is there?
No.
So that's why I can use it. So be careful. You can repeat it, but you have to be careful with it. If you repeat it, for example, I may be 15 at some point. And then if I use I somewhere else, it might get 15 from there. So be careful. But I was very careful. I made sure there's no I in my code, right? So my code is going to be fine. Okay. Yeah, it's an important point. Just stay with it now. Okay. So now we can just do taco dot forward. And now I'm going to go with some size. Okay. But notice here, I already have size equals 50. So I could use that same size. Okay. Just, I have to know which size I'm using. So I do forward 50 and then taco dot left. And I could do 90 if I wanted to do a square, but I want it to be able to draw any kind of n-sided shape. So the angle depends on how many sides are there. So the angle will be equal to 360. We talked about this earlier. If this logic is not clear, just ask me in your projects, and next class we can spend some more time, okay, on this one. But 360 divided by num sides. Okay, this you should understand. This basically each angle gets for example, it's 120 degrees for a triangle, it's 90 for a square, and so on. It becomes smaller and smaller. So this is the actual formula for that, okay? And if it's not clear, next time we can derive it. So now let's see what happens. If I do this, let's see what we get. Okay, we get a square, right? So that's nice. What about if I make it 5? Will we get a pentagon? Looks like I have the function that I want. So this, many of you can do. If you can't, it's okay. This is just practice for us. So now, but the new ingredient here is I'm going to define a function, and we're going to call it draw shape. And here in draw shape, we're going to do the same thing. So what do I need? Okay, so first let's not do anything. Let's just take this and make a function. Remember, I have to indent it. And here of course, I just defined a function, so nothing happens. But now I have to say, please draw shape. Right, so I say draw shape, and it will draw a shape, but it will always draw the shape based on, I cannot draw different shapes right now. So the way to do this is, again, what do I need to draw a shape? Look at what we just did here. It needs number of sides, so we're going to put all of them as parameters. So number of sides becomes a parameter. Then it needs to have a size. All the sides of the shape are the same size, so we put size. And then it can calculate the angle itself if it has the number of sides. So we'll take this angle and we put it inside the function. Okay, so now it's going to calculate its own angle, and it's going to be able to draw a shape. We think it's going to be able to draw a shape. Now let's get this far. So a number of sides with an S. So let's try a hexagon, and let's say the size is 100, just to try it out and see what happens. Yep, we got a big hexagon. Is it really working? I can make a small hexagon. Notice how we became suddenly very powerful. I can draw any n-sided shape because I created my own function to do this work. I'm almost there. The last piece, which I want all of you, this is the only part that can be a little struggle for us. We have to give it a turtle. Even though it works, this is a better way to do it. So let's just practice that way. You say, I will give you a turtle, use whichever turtle I give you. And here I'll give it up. And that should be done, right? So now we have it, but now let's ask the question, why did I do all this work? Well, I want to draw a house. If I have this draw shape function, can I draw a house? How will we draw a house? I have to draw a square, and then on top of it, I have to draw a, so we can say def draw a house. Notice how one function is going to use another one. To draw a house, so let's again do it in the same way. First you draw a house. Notice how I'm building like a tower. It's like Lego blocks, right? I have the shape now. To draw a house, first I have to draw a square. So I'll say draw shape once for the base. And then I'll say draw shape again for the roof. But okay, I don't know that yet. So let's see if we can just get draw shape to work. But the house needs to have some properties. So now this is very important. Where does the house be? So we'll put the house. Oh, I didn't do that here. So notice this function is getting more and more complicated, right? Because we put this shape in the middle. So how about we move the shape? So if I want to move the shape, then I have to put an X and a Y just like we did before, right?
Wait, I have one question.
Yes.
On line 15, why is there like an arrow?
Where's 915?
Line 15 for
15.
def make star.
Because
Why
we hit the box, right? If you
Huh?
if you hit the arrow, it hides the box. It hides the code.
Oh, okay. That's
Okay,
it.
and I said think it's like a box, and I hid it just to show that it's
Okay.
hidden, right?
Yeah.
So whenever you make a function, you can hide it. Okay.
Okay.
That's just to create more space for us.
Yeah.
So now, okay, so let's do this piece before we go to house. So I will just comment out this. So I'm not even drawing house. I'm drawing shape, but I want to be able to move it. So here I can say, let's move it up. Let's move it 100, 100. But is this going to work? No, it's not going to work because I didn't use the X and Y anywhere. And in order to move a shape, we already have the code in some place. Later, you can even make that into a separate function. But we can take all this is the same idea, and put it inside this function. So now it's going to move this shape, right? It's, I need a pen up, but okay. So it's going to move this shape somewhere, right? So let's see. So let's see if this, so notice it's, this first time you're seeing this stuff, it can make it a little, oh my God, that's a lot of things going on. But we have to constantly in our brain work in small steps. So what is the step I did right now? Just the step I did was to move my shape. And I know in order to move the shape, I just have to use X and Y and tell the turtle to go to some place. And as soon as I do that, it's going to be able to do that. So let's see what happens now. And you see it actually moved it. It's a little squished up because it's trying to go up. Okay, and what about the color? It didn't have a color. So we have to put a color here. That's why it became black. So here, now it has a color. So we have to give a color for the shape. Let's call it white. And there you go. So we got a very small hexagon. So let's make it a little bigger. Let's do 50. No, number of sides is, sorry, 6 still. The size is 50. So let's make it a little bigger. And you got a hexagon in the sky, right? So this has become very powerful. And even if it's difficult, the point I want to share with all of you is, this is why we practice, right? And I'm showing you that it's not that I have used any superpowers. Just we learned about functions last time. Now we are trying to use the functions to help us. But as soon as I got this far with a little help, once I got this far, I can do many powerful things. Because now I can make shapes anywhere. And in particular, I'm going to use that idea. So let's just comment out this and try to make our house now. So in order to do that, I have to first draw the base of the house. So what is the base of the house? I can take all these parameters and then just set them, which I just used. So the base of the house has to have a square. So it has to have 4 sides. The size of the square could be, let's say 50 for now. Let's see what happens. And let's put it at the origin, right? 0, 0. Then we'll move it somewhere else. And we'll just say draw a house. What will it draw? It will just draw it will just draw a square. So it's not yet my house. But you see what I want all of you to appreciate, that we can build it like Lego blocks, right? That's the cool thing, that you can do little by little. You don't have to solve all problems at one time. Whoops, draw house takes one argument. So draw house, yeah, I didn't finish my draw house. Now draw house needs to have all of this stuff, right? What is all of this stuff? All these parameters. So we can just copy, because house and square and all of them have very similar parameters. So that is an interesting thing for us to use. So I can just take this and say draw house, and I'll explain all of them, right? I'm just saving some typing time. Draw house needs a turtle. So yes, it needs a turtle. Then draw house needs some, doesn't need number of sides. So we can just take it out, because a house doesn't have sides. It just has size, it just has location, and it has a color. So this part is very important. It's like we are going to make this beautiful little machine. We have to take a moment and think, what does this machine need to do its work, right? And you should give it no more and no less, right? But we can add all kinds of things to it, but it'll get complicated. But right now, I think this is the minimum. In order to its work, it needs a turtle. You need to know how big the house has to be. You need to know where to put the house, and you need to know the color, right? So it's all very sensible. And then we pass this to draw shape. So draw shape now takes this turtle and does its work. See how this turtle gets passed around? And then the house is going to be of the same size as what is given to it. It's going to be at the same location. The square base of the house is going to be at the same location. And that's it, right? And then there's a color. What else do we need? Size. Let me see. Draw shape. Draw shape has number of sides. Oh, it has number of sides is needed as well, right? So here I'm going to say the base of the house is a square. So I don't need a parameter. I'm going to choose it to be 4, right? So number of sides is 4. The size is whatever size I want for the house. The location is X and Y, and the color is the color, right? Okay, that was a lot of work. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's complaining, takes 5 arguments, and I've given it nothing. So it's also nice when things break. We don't panic. We look carefully and say, what's it saying? I didn't put anything here. I said draw a house. It's not going to work. So I have to give it 5 things. So first I have to say taco. The size of the house, let's say, is 100. Let's say we put it at the origin. So X and Y is 0. And let's say the color is red. Okay. But notice here, I already, as I was typing it, I see I made this white here. So really I should put color here. Okay. So the whole idea is that as I'm writing the code, I'm just carefully thinking about all the little pieces I need. And if I work systematically, eventually my problems get solved. That looks nice. I got this house. I got this part of the house. Now I need to have a triangle. So I'm going to do the same thing basically. The triangle is going to be, for now, the triangle is going to be in the same color. So let's say it has the same color. It's going to be in this, okay, so this part is going to be interesting. Let's say triangle, so it has to have 3 sides. Let's pretend that the size is the same size, but what is the location for the triangle? So now we have to pause and think.
Excuse me?
Yes?
When you're writing like draw a house and like the specifications, is it for the shape and not for the house?
Say that again. Can you speak up a little more or move closer to the mic?
When you write the specifications for the draw house, like isn't it for the shape square? It's not because like the house doesn't like have any how would you do it for the house then?
No.
I didn't get that.
Well, this is interesting, right? So now I want all of you to really take a piece of paper and think about it. The way I did it is I said the house is composed of a square and a rectangle. So sorry, a square and a triangle, right? And then the house is going to have some size, because I want to be able to change the size of the house, some location X and Y, and some color. So these seem like that.
One question.
Yes.
So you see how the square is just a square, but how do you make it filled up?
We're going to fill. Good point.
You begin, fill, and fill.
Hold the thought for a minute. I saw it already, but I'm slowly getting there. Okay. I want to show all of you that this can be done. Only thing we need here is patience and slowly, right? And of course, features, as you said. Why not fill it? Why should the house be empty like this? But let's solve one problem first. So the point is properties, this is the only intelligent thing here. What do I need? Well, not the only, but this is one of the important things. What do I need to draw a house, right? And I'm saying right now, I need a turtle, I need the size of the house, I need the location, and I need the color. And then I pass it. The house is composed of sub pieces, and I pass these values to the pieces as needed, right? Somebody says they cannot see the screen. Is it the drawing screen? I'm not sure which screen, but can everybody, is anyone having trouble with the screen?
No.
Okay.
No,
So
I can see the screen fine.
okay. So let's go ahead. Let's go. I'll try to make it a little bigger and see if it helps. Okay, maybe this is better. Is this better or no?
Oh, I think someone means the text.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can log out and log back in if you're having trouble. I'm not sure. Because everyone can see this. Most of you can see the screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now notice I'm almost there. I'm getting excited, but I'm almost there. My triangle is in the wrong place because it's always drawing at the origin, right? I need to move the triangle up. So how do I move the triangle up? I need to move it up in which direction? Up and down is controlled by the second label.
It
And I
will
need
be
to
y
move,
plus size if we do. So it will be
exactly. So
remove
this
the
is what we
control.
need. I need to move it up, but notice I used size here. I didn't put 100 or 200. So when I change, now I got my house. It's not yet filled, but notice now I can make the house first. Let's see if we can make the house smaller. Make the house smaller. Let's see if it makes. Yep, it's working well. You can make it bigger, of course. And can I move it? For example, I want to move the house up. So if I do 100 here, okay, this is left, right, sorry. So if I move, okay, let's do 150. I don't know. This is supposed to move to the right and up. Beautiful, right? So now I can draw many houses and I can put them anywhere I want, except as somebody said, it's not filling. So what do we have to do for filling? See, notice because everything is in one function, I can say this is the function that's drawing the shapes. Can I ask it to fill? So here I can say a turtle, and then I say begin fill. A turtle dot begin fill, and then we say end fill, right?
There should be an underscore.
Yes. So begin fill, and then I just take the same thing, and then we put it down below, and now it should be able to fill the shape. But notice it can fill any shape I draw, right? So here I have to put end fill. Can draw any shape I draw, right? So it's going to hopefully fill.
Wind fill.
Yeah, wind fill. Okay, so now it's filled. And I think at this moment I want to pause because I think this is a lot for you to digest. But notice in the shape I showed you, I added more things. I added a door and a window. But let's think about it. What about the door and the window? Are they new shapes or do we have enough functions to make the door and the window?
We can just add on to the function and then adjust it the coordinate value to make it to the correct location, and the draw house function is enough.
Yes. So let me
draw everything inside the house.
Let me ask someone. Sia, what do you think? What do I need to do to put a window? Where would I go and change? What would I use? You want to guess something?
You could use the draw shape function to make a square, and then you could move it where you wanted to make it.
Beautiful. So that is the correct answer, right? So you can use the draw shape function to make a square. So I'll make one more square and then move it around, right? And so on. What about okay, so let's ask someone else. Suhani, what do you think? I'm just going to letter S for now, okay? I'm trying to be random. I'm not very random, okay? Notice I need a random number generator. But Suhani, what do you think? What do I need to do for the door?
I got disconnected just right now. I think there's a lot of rain.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask what we're doing. Right now because I got disconnected for 2 minutes.
Okay. So first of all, for all of you, right? If you get disconnected or you have trouble, usually we're recording the whole session and we're posting it on a website, on our course website, right? So if you ever wanted to catch up, you can just go there and watch the video of the part that you missed, okay? Or if something went a little too quickly and you didn't catch it, you can just watch it again, okay? So that is important. Now we are just trying to draw this house, little house now, but using functions, right? First we drew a star, now we drew the house, but the house is not done. There's a window and a door to be done. Okay, so let me ask all of you. It's almost time for us, right? So well, we can spend a few more minutes, but it's time. So this may be a good moment for me to pause. And I want to ask all of you, will you be able to finish the house?
At least I'll try to.
Okay.
Honestly, the house is not that hard. Because like if you make the house's size a tad bigger, like make it more in the middle and make it bigger. You can make the windows. You can make the windows itself, which you can just do, like fill the color white in, make like a square, color white in.
Yeah. But so here's the important part, right? The important part is that we not only have to do the shapes as we did before, but we have to put it into a function and then make everything be able to move around, right? So that
But like the function, like how much time does it take to create a function? Maybe 1 minute at the most. So you can write
some people would say, "Oh my God, that's."
You can write you can write the code itself first, then you can add it to the function, which I normally do because it's way easier. Because before you need to call the function like several times to make it work. On the other hand, just writing it down without a function is way easier.
Correct. So I want all of you to feel this way.
It works differently for different people.
Yes, it works differently. But the important thing is when somebody is able to do it, we say, okay, what is the idea they are using, right? We don't say, oh my God, this person can do it, then maybe something's wrong with me. That's not the correct response. The correct response is what was the idea? And I took the idea right away. It's a good idea. First, write down what you need to do. Don't even think about a function. Make it work. Just like I did today in the class, right? I wrote everything without a function. And then slowly I made a function and then I moved all the values into the parameters of the function, right? So this way you can first draw a house and then, so a lot of you, in fact, have written code and submitted in the past. Let's go back to those codes and say, do I see some kind of function here? And the idea is this, once I get hold of it, then I can make some really powerful images, right? Because I can make, for example, I can make a bunch of houses, I can make a whole village, I can make a whole city, I can do all kinds of beautiful things, and it's just going to work, right? So there's a small, so I'm going to add this to the project page. I haven't done that yet. But once I add this to the project page, you can go back and do this. Do you want me to share this code or are you going to be able to do this code yourself?
Like, how about you share it? No, how about you?
Why does it make this square and the triangle at just two different?
Yeah, so now I want to warn all of you. This may be hard for you to do, but notice if the stars are drawn before the house, the stars have a very bad property.
Could you share code because I will have to get in.
Say that again one more time. Sorry.
I think she was asking to share the code.
Okay. I will share the code. Okay. I will put the code into the project page so you can use it as a starting point and then do this. Okay.
I think you can share it and then whoever like don't want to use the code can
Correct. And if I share the code, you should not just copy it, right? Try to delete it and write it in your own way, right? And then that will help. Use the code as a guideline. So I will paste this code there and then, you can all use it.
Wait, but I have one question. Why is it working now since the stars is at the end? While before it's just
so now
why
this
doesn't matter what time it starts.
Yeah, so now this is very important point, okay? Very important point. I don't want to hide it, but it makes our head hurt. Notice that when we drew the stars, when I draw, so this is a very important rule that we need to learn. When we finish drawing something, should always leave the turtle pointing in a sensible direction, right? If you don't, then Taco is pointing in some strange direction. And then if it's pointing in some strange direction, what happens? When you start drawing again, it will go in that direction. Make sense? So
Yes.
Okay,
every
yeah.
function, you should make sure after you draw the star. In fact, I did this last night, so that's why I'm able to tell right away. After you draw the star, you should say, in which direction is it pointing? And you can do that by just going one extra forward and seeing what happens.
Okay, so if the turtle is going in some weird direction and then you start, then it'll just make the house really weird. So
Yes, because it'll put the square in some tilted direction and all kinds of
yeah,
things.
so you have to do it later. Okay.
Right. Now there is a special command here. Of course, I prefer that all of you just really know what is going on. So you don't have to use this special command. But this special command is helpful. For example, here, it sets the turtle to be pointing in the right direction. So if you want, you can use this, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Or I did it in a clever way right now for all of you. I said, you know what? The stars are leaving the turtle in a strange way. For the house and the triangle, I know that it's pointing in the right way. So I just changed the order.
Okay.
Okay, which made it look visually nice, but of course I didn't solve the problem. Okay.
Yeah.
So very important idea, small steps. Don't panic. If you can master this, what we have discussed in the class today, then you are home. Basically, we can take any big idea. So here's the template. Take any big idea. Either start by making small pieces of code and then change it. But our goal is to make building blocks that we can reuse. And then we take the building blocks and we can do things that normally would take thousands of lines. Suppose I want to draw a whole village with 100 houses. And if I'm just copy pasting my code, it becomes 1,000 lines, right? But now we can put everything in loops. We can have logic to reuse our building blocks and we can make very sophisticated things.
Excuse me?
Yes.
It's like 9:15 in India. So when are we gonna do the guessing game?
Good point. We are going to, because this took longer than I thought. I always think we can go fast, but because all of you have questions and it's good time, I'm not rushing. So what we will do is next time we will do this guessing game. Okay. For today, we will pause with this drawing. I just enjoy it, all of you, right? Enjoy it meaning take it and make some nice pictures. You can do lots of pictures using what we discussed. In the next class, we will do this guessing game. Okay. The same idea though. Sorry, yes.
You asked me to remind. I had asked you a question. How can we share the code that we write with our?
Yes. I asked you to remind me. So I asked you to remind me. So now we're going to come to those points. Very important points. So actually, in terms of class, I'm winding down. Okay, just answering your questions. I'm giving you some information. I've asked a couple of you to wait till the end, and I will answer. So now is the time. Take your paper, keep your questions ready. I'm going to go through one by one. So this is one quick question that some of you have asked me, which is, how can I share this code with, if I made code, I want to give it to my parent. I want them to be able to see it. You can go here and you can get a link from here. So wherever you're writing your code on any trinket, there will be this share button and a drop down. Take the drop down and you take the link. Just take the link and paste it in email, send them. There's a small chance they need to log into Trinket. I don't know. You can just try it with a friend and see. But you can create a free login just like all of you have done. And you can just share so they can come straight and see your Trinket. So for example, if I took this link and send it to all of you, you can just come and see my code and run it, etc. Of course, you can always copy the code and give it to them in a file. But I don't think we should do that right now because they can copy paste, make some mistakes, etc. Plus then they have to know how to run it and all that stuff. So this is the best recommended thing. Just take the link and give it to them. Okay.
So by doing this, can I allow my friends to play that game which I made?
Correct. Play the game, see your art, whatever you want.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Now to share art, you can also many of you know how to take screenshots. You can just take a screenshot of the art and then just email to people, right? Say, look, something nice I made. That's also a quick way to do things. Okay, or you can share the code. Okay, next question. I told one or two of you to ask me. So now is a good moment.
How to draw the border of the art, like the house, how to draw a border.
What do we mean by border though?
I mean to outline the drawing.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you the long way is, why don't you just draw a shape which is a little bigger than the square and give it a different color, it becomes an outline.
So there is no particular function for it.
No, I'm saying use that for now. I'll show you some other functions. I want to try out a couple of things and then tell you the best one.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Yes, so you told me to wait till the end of the class?
Yes.
So how do you for list, how do you get a random
Yes. Okay, so let's do that here. Okay, so this is a very important and easy thing for us to do. So from random import star, this is what we, or the font is a little small, I guess. From random import star. So now what does this guy do? It allows us, we just recap again, it allows us to get random values, right? So for example, we can say whatever, val for value equals randint, and here you can specify any range you want. This range is really important, right? Because this range tells us what the values lie inside. So for example, if I want to make a die, the dies have values which go from 1 to 6. So I can say val equals randint 1 to 6. And then I can just put this, for example, in a loop for I in range, just so we can see whether it's really being random. I in range 10. You can get a val and just print it out for now. It's just to get familiar with randint again, right? So let's see what happens if we run this. You should see different values, but they all lie between 1 and 6, right? So we can get values like this. So now once I have a random integer, now if I have a list, so let's make a list and let's put in this list, let's put some names in here. So Tina, Bob, Ram, whatever, right? So I have 3 names, let's say. Let's put one more here. Theta. Okay, some names in a list. So of course I can just print this list, that's easy. But now we want to get these names at random from this list. So in order to get a name, a specific name from the list, I can pass an index here, right? So for example, if I want to get the second name, notice it starts from 0. So I have to put here list 1 to get the second name. Second name will be Bob. Let's see if we get Bob. We get Bob, right? So all I need to do to get a random thing here is this index should be chosen at random. Okay, so I can use this idea to get the index at random. But now, very important question: how do I make the index?
You can do what can't you do? Print parentheses list random, and then yeah. Why can't you do that?
Wait, I'll come. Just hold your thoughts for a minute, okay? Let me finish this one, then we'll come. There are a couple of other ways to do this, but let me just think. So you have to pick up a random index, and that will give me the object, right? But the indexes now we have to say what range do they lie in? They lie in the range from 0, 1, 2, and 3. So for now, let me just say, give me random integers which lie in the range 0 to 3. And then here I can just pass in val, right? And actually I can put the list has to be created only once. So put it outside my for loop. And now inside the for loop, I go and say print list val. But oops, sorry. I need to take only this. Okay, you can keep the value also so we can see it. And then I say print list val. So notice what is happening in my for loop. Each time it's getting a new random integer. It's going to lie in the range which is within the list. Each time it's going to get a different value. And then it's going to go to the list and pull out the value at that location. But this location is going to change each time. So let's see what happens. Whoa, it's a little confusing to see so much, but let's read it carefully. First time it got location 2 and then went to location 2 and printed Ram. Next time it got location 0, it printed Tina. Third time it got location 0, printed Tina, and so on and so forth. So in order to make this a little bit more powerful, we should not put 3 here. We should put len of my list. Actually, okay, this is also a bad thing I've done. We should not use the word list because that is a very special Python thing. So let's get rid of this and call it names. Okay, and here I will get just names and then get stuff from names. Okay, so now let's see if this code works. Well, length. So this is the length of names. Is it length of names? No, it's not, because that's the length of names is 4, but we wanted to go only up to 3. So you have to do a -1 here and then run it. And it looks nice, but maybe we can do this and you see it, or maybe even better, we can do this so you can see it side by side. So you can see the value and the thing. So now let's look at this. Whoa, what did I do? Ah, there's an extra bracket here. Okay, so you see that it's picking random numbers and each time it's going to the list and pulling out a different name. Now this is names, it could have been colors, it could have been anything, and it's going to work. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, yes.
I had a question.
Yes, go on.
For making the rainbow, I was able to take all the colors and give those colors of the WebGear. However, I was not able to make the shape of the rainbow. I tried, but it
okay.
didn't turn out to be what I expected.
We'll come to shapes in a minute, but let's just see if this will work too. Notice this also works. So I'm going to pause for a minute and explain this idea as well. The random library, since this is a little tricky, right? Why is it tricky? I have to get all these values and then put some range here and then pass it here, etc. Python says, hey, how about I do it for you? Just give me the list and say, make a choice from there, right? So this choice function is defined in the random library, and you'd say, make a choice from the names, and it goes at random to the names and it picks it. Okay, it doesn't look random because it got Bob 3 times, but it's actually random, right? So if this was colors of the rainbow, this would be a nice way to get random colors out. But you say choice and then pass in the colors as a list. So let me pick on, let me ask someone. Maybe I'll pick Rashmi Jain. I'm R, then S. Looks like I'm going backward.
That's my mom.
Huh?
That's my mom. That's
okay.
My
So, I don't know, in Zoom, you might be able to log in as yourself or pretend.
Yeah. I could change it. Yeah.
Okay, so what is the name I should use?
Nishan.
Nishan. Okay, Nishan. So, which one looks easier to you?
I think just line 10 and 11.
Yeah, probably. That's why I showed it to all of you. Line 10 and 11 is a nice way to get random values out of a list. You say choice and then pass the list, and it just does it for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a long discussion about how to do random things. Now somebody asked me how to draw the rainbow. So the rainbow is an interesting thing. I really want to leave it as a puzzle. But one way to think of the rainbow is as a half circle.
Yeah. So it's circle. So there's actually 2 ways of doing it. You could draw a semicircle and keep on doing semicircles, or a trick I did is you just make a circle into a circle into a circle, but then you don't show the user all the circles. You just show half of it, so they can't see it. And it.
So Nishan just told us the trick. So this is a good trick for all of you. I actually use this trick. So the trick is you draw circles, right? But now you want half circles. Just draw a rectangle on top of it.
Well, honestly, there's no difference between the one that is inbuilt in Python and then the one that you're talking about. I mean, Nishant sent me his code itself, and then I tested them both together. And honestly, there's not such a big difference. But
there should be no difference because they are just 2 ways to do the same thing. But for those who haven't done it, they need an idea, right? And this is what I'm sharing with all of you. The idea is not what function do I need to find. The idea is if I know how to draw full circles and now I want a half circle, then maybe all I need to do is cut it. But I don't know how to cut it, but I can just draw some shape on top of the bottom of the circle, and there I got a half circle, right? So that is the kind of puzzle solving skill that I want us to develop, right? And of course it's difficult, but don't be if it's not, ideas not coming, don't be too tired and exhausted about it. Try it and then submit your project, and then we can go from there.
I have a question.
Yes.
So this time, like the session 6 assignments, why'd you only give 4?
Because I don't know. Okay, so this is a very important. Some people are saying, why did you give 4? Because I felt that many of you were getting busy and tired and so on. So I gave less. Do you want more?
Honestly, the best thing I like about this class are the assignments because they're so challenging.
Lovely, lovely. And I want all of you to feel that way, right? Because sometimes when we sit down to write code, it's hard to find what to do. So I put a lot of time to come up with interesting things and give it to you, right? And I also spend a lot of time, more time than I planned, to read all of your things and give you comments and so on. So please check. And also please practice this idea of telling me what you're trying to do. Sometimes I cannot figure out what you're trying to do. So try to tell in words also. Okay, so we are winding up, but just any more questions? Did I tell anyone else to wait till the end?
Well, there is one question that I have.
Okay, go on. Now it's question time.
Yeah. So how do you do the last exercise? Because I'm a tad confused.
Somebody was asking about last exercise. So, okay, which last exercise?
The session 6 one, the last one.
This one?
Yeah.
Use random numbers to create an interesting pattern.
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever you want, but like, for example, I made random stars, or you can do random lines, or random shapes, or random dots, or random color, whatever you want.
Yeah, I also had one more question. So how do you rotate a shape?
What does it mean, rotate a shape?
So, like, you know, there's like you go on Google and then there's some square spirograph or something. That's like a square rotated on any angles.
Okay. So
it's a barrel roll. We call it a barrel roll, I think.
So let's just do this in a simple way, okay? So let me see here. Let's just run this code. This we already did today. So let's just go to this code here and say, I don't want to draw anything. Let's make it blank quickly. Okay, and it's blank. And now we've been practicing this. So I know how to draw a square. So let's say, let's do this. Let's see if it makes a square for us. So now see, my code is going to be very much more powerful because, whoops, a turtle should be taco here. Okay. Okay, so now I need to give all these values. Okay, so let's say size is 100.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Go on. Yeah, go on. You can ask me the question.
I think she's having a connection problem.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so let's see. Let's do this draw shape here. So I got a hexagon. Let's put it for now at the origin. So it's in the middle of my picture. And now you want to rotate it, right?
Yeah,
So
I don't know how to rotate a square.
Notice when we want to do any repeated action, we should always repeat it like this, right? I in range. Let me rotate it. Let's start with 6 times. Okay. And this shape will get rotated 6 times. But it's not very interesting because you will just draw on top of each other, right? It will just keep on drawing on top of each other. So just to make this rotated, all I have to do is make taco do a little extra turn. So we'll say taco dot, this is very important to create nice patterns, right? Taco dot left. And here I will turn it by an extra, I'll do 360 divided by, here we'll put here, let's say, I don't know, n for now, because I don't have a better label in my mind. But let's just try it here and we'll say n equals 6. So each time it's going to rotate by an extra 60 degrees. 360 by 6 is 60 degrees. Now let's see what happens. Because it's filled, it becomes a bigger hexagon. Okay, so let's try to do this without the fill. Okay, so in draw shape, I'll take off the fill. And then draw this again. And you see, I already got a nice pattern. Isn't this cool? Now you can just make as many types of rotations as you want.
It kind of looks like some flower.
Yeah.
No, honestly, it looks like you know, like those Indian drawings they have.
Yeah.
Like the what do you call it? You have put it in front of your house.
They call it the rangoli.
Rangoli. Yeah.
Yeah, look, now I got a nicer pattern, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what I was talking to Nishanta. He's like, there's nothing. He shows me 10 websites which say the same thing.
Now
what do you mean?
Now you see why you spend time with me. We don't go to all kind of places, right? We just solve it with what tools we have. Isn't it nice? So now what is the idea here? I want all of you to pay attention to an important idea. The important idea is we built something simple, but now I controlled it. I used a 6-sided shape, and then I made sure that this number is a multiple of 6. And that makes some nice, interesting pattern, right? So we must understand that there's a relationship. It's some people here would do like, I don't know, 70s. I don't even know. 6 is a beautiful number because lots of things, multiples of it and so on. But you could do like 43, right? And some people do even 743. And then you get sometimes it may produce something nice, but if you don't have, for example, a multiple of 360, it may not go all the way around. Or it may go 1.5 times around. And the pattern will be nice, but incomplete. Okay, so next time we can discuss these patterns. But see, if you do it properly, that's not bad. That's nice, yeah? So that's it. Okay, other question.
That was my question.
Huh? Yes.
That was my question.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so then if there are no more questions, we'll wind up for today, but I just want to leave all of you with an important point. Next class is our last class. So please do think about your experiences in this class, what you would like to do going forward, and see if we can find ways to work on that. But also I want all of you to just remember there's
I had a question.
Yeah.
Wait, it's our last class?
Yeah, it is our last class.
I thought it was much longer.
Oh yeah?
Wait, yeah.
Okay, so
I thought it was 10 weeks.
Okay. I think it was 8 weeks, but okay. We'll figure it out, okay?
You guys have like a higher level of Python kind of?
Yeah.
Or just make this longer or something. I need ideas from you. So next time we'll talk about ideas, okay?
Wait, I have a question. Do you teach Java?
Yeah.
How, wait. Don't you do a Java class?
I haven't done one, but we can. Why would you want to do Java?
Honestly, like Python is pretty advanced now these days, and I'm like, I think like a tad more practice of Python would be enough.
Yeah, if you practice Python, that's all you need. No, but the idea is not to learn tricky things about the language. The idea is to make beautiful programs like this, right? With less code, a lot of flexibility. Next time I'm going to talk about solving some interesting problems and also write the guessing game and so on. So for example, if I asked you, can you quickly make hangman, right? If you know how to play hangman, or can you make battleship or anything, right? Whatever you can think of, or a math problem, right?
Maybe we could do some like bonus class or something.
Yes. So next time let's spend 10 minutes and we'll talk about what we could do. Okay, and then we'll think about it. But I want all of you to not feel overwhelmed. This is small and simple steps. And those who are put in more practice, they should feel better about it. Things should be easier now. Those who have been busy, this is a chance to catch up. You still have like 1 week this week, and then after next week, 1 more week, 2 more weeks are there. So spend some time. You can redo the projects. You don't need new projects, right? You can submit again. So it's all right. Just clean it up, but tell me what you're doing new so I can pay attention to what you're doing new there. And then that will give you plenty of practice. Okay?
Where do you get the assignments from?
What do you mean? I make them up.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I imagine all of you and think about what might be interesting to you. And then I try to write something. Yeah, a lot of work went into
the box puzzle was one of the most challenging ones.
Yeah, that was really hard.
I tried it this morning with a pen and paper, and I realized that it will take a long time to think about it.
It's not that hard actually. Maybe next time, if you remind me, we can do it together in the class.
I tried it, but I'm like, oh my god, this is just too hard.
No, it's not hard. When I show you the answer,
I kind of understand.
As soon as we get that pattern which is present in this puzzle, so it'll no more be difficult.
Honestly, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, but don't do spoiler alert. Don't tell if it's easy. Don't tell the answer.
Honestly, it's so easy.
Yeah,
but But no. I haven't even done it. Okay. So honestly, it's so easy. But explaining it to Python is like as hard. 2 times hard.
So those are the important things. How can we, like, you take a paper and you start scribbling on the paper, right? And so scribbling on the paper, you say you have to make Python do it. Then you have to figure out how to tell Python to do the work, right? So that is the muscle we want to build. Like all these small things, we make Python do the work. Right? How will Python open boxes? You can draw boxes if you want, or you can put 0 for open, 1 for close, whatever, right? You can come up with some ideas. So we have to do both ways. You have to take the paper and you have to do it. And then you have to take Python and make Python do it.
The comments that you give on the submissions really do kind of help.
Oh, thank you.
Improve it.
Yeah, they do help, honestly.
Yes. Thank you. No,
they're really helpful.
Tell me.
Yeah, they're really helpful, and I like always writing comments about it. And I feel like I write too much.
No, they're never too much. Okay, always organize your thoughts and write them down. It's always a good thing, right? But I want all of you to understand. I try my best to give all of you interesting comments and ideas, but you know, there's like 20 of you, and there's like each time we have about 5 or even if there's 5 projects, that's 5 times 20. That's 100 projects I have to look at, right? So sometimes I get a little bit behind. Well, I try my best to catch up. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes I wonder that from which code are these apps made where we submit our codes, like Trinket there is, and BlueJ where we submit a Python and Java code. Sometimes I wonder from which code are they made?
They're always made from, okay, so it's interesting. This one, anything that runs in a browser very often is made out of JavaScript, because JavaScript is the language that runs inside the browser, right? So the idea usually when you see anything running inside a browser, most often it's done by translating the code. Sometimes what they do is they actually have a virtual computer in the background and they open a window on that virtual computer. In that case, only the window part is done in JavaScript and the rest is running really Python or Java, but on a virtual computer. So many of these examples is actually just JavaScript under the covers.
I have one question.
Yes.
Yeah, so you know how is Python coded?
How is Python coded? You mean how will you write if you wanted to invent Python tomorrow?
Yeah,
there is one in the interesting projects also. Make your own language.
Yes.
Language,
so the idea is many. Correct. The idea is many levels, many layers, but it's important, right? A language is very special because
I can assume that these languages take more than a year to create, almost. Like if at such a great level, these languages.
Well, it's hard to tell. You know, there are some very, very powerful programmers who can create something like Python in, I don't know, 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Maybe not every last detail, but certainly kind of like what we use.
But then,
they're very powerful programmers.
To create something such like that, I mean, it takes lots of guts and lots of skill to create something like that.
Correct. And it's very abstract.
Most importantly, you need to have the algorithm. You have to organize the things which you want to make before coding them.
Yeah.
Correct. So I don't want to hold up anyone who wants to leave, but yes, we are winding up and just doing questions right now.
Because creating a language has so many fundamentals that you need to look and inspect each and every one of them.
Correct. So creating a language, that is there are special. It's a special topic how to create a language.
You can think about this. Like there's a language. Then you create that language, and the person that creates that language. It's like you just keep going on and on. You can never figure out who created the language.
Yeah. So we should talk about that. The things that keep going on and on. If I have time tomorrow, next time I will talk about that a little. But creating languages is a special topic. It's a special kind of a program. And then once you learn how to create languages and how to write this special program and know the algorithms for it, then you can write your own languages, right? But it's not, most people That's a lot of work, and you really have to have a special idea why. So if some of you are interested, I can give a talk someday, and we can talk about all the different languages and why they exist and what makes them special. And sometimes each language has a new idea, right? And so creating another language just because I can do it is not very interesting. But creating another language because there's a new concept you want to bring, that is interesting. So, but those concepts are tricky, but often there is a concept. Okay, I think yes, we should wind up now. I don't want to hold all of you up. So let's wind up for today. Think about the future, what we want to do going forward. I will send you quickly a survey so I can know what you want to